All right. All right. What first comes to mind when I say swoosh? It's an open-minded question. And for those of you who are thinking about a big gust of wind, you're completely and utterly wrong. But for those of you who are thinking about Nike, you're on point. Nike is an athletic company that was located originally in Beaverton, which is a small city in Washington, Oregon, containing only 90,000 people. So when people think of Nike, they think Nike didn't really have a startup, that right off the bat, they ran the global market. This is where they're wrong. There's a lot of history with Nike, and I'll be talking about that with you. I'll be talking about its apparel, and I'll be talking about the sponsorships that it deals with. So Nike was founded in 1964 by Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight. And like I said, it was originally in Beaverton, a small city in Washington, Oregon. But it wasn't until 1971 when the original swoosh was created. Originally, Nike was just a footwear company, but even back then, Nike didn't want to settle with just being a footwear company. It was set in stone that they wanted to compete in different areas of the market, and that's when they decided, Bill and Phil decided that they were going to push their company to its limits, and in 1986, they started to produce an apparel collection. But if we fast forward, it wasn't until 2006 when Nike made its biggest contribution to the company when they hired CEO Mark Parker, and in 2006 he was also the president. So what Mark Parker did was he was the biggest reason for the global and economic growth. There was an increase in 8% revenue over a 5-year fiscal period for Nike. So MarketWatch.com, which is a site that watches the global markets and different companies like that, said that Nike sale revenue over the last 5 years fiscal period rose from $20.89 billion to $30.6 billion, and that's due to Mark Parker since he's been hired. Nike is largely known all over the world. From the professional athletes to average day people, Nike is the apparel people want to work out in, or just simply want to look at. I have friends that I talk to that also wear Nike. They like to go to the gym and stuff, and I ask them, what's their biggest reason for wanting to wear Nike? And they said, obviously, because they want to look hot when they work out. So there is that fashion edge that Nike carries with them that most people feel Puma or Adidas doesn't necessarily have. Point is, Nike is able to fulfill the requirement that every business has to have in order to succeed. They get the consumer to want their product. The very well-known swoosh has made its mark in every athletic apparel store that you walk into. There isn't one athletic apparel store that you walk into that does not sell the trademark swoosh or Nike. Along with many unique characteristics Nike has, its slogan separates itself, again, from other manufacturers. So, like Puma, doesn't really have a catchy slogan, but Nike is just do it. I mean, think about this. If you're busy on a day, what do? You have so many activities or chores that you need to get complete or finish, so you get a checklist. What do you do when you fulfill a requirement on your checklist? You check it off. Bam, you have Nike right there, written all over it. The difference between Nike and other manufacturers also is that literally they encourage you to get active in whatever it is, daily activity that you want to do, and just do it. Whether it's going for a workout or walking your dog, the average day person wants Nike. The comfort of knowing what Nike is all about has many athletes and regular people craving more, however. Nike has the ability to dress a person from head to toe. For example, Nike makes headbands, hats, sunglasses, shirts, cutoffs, tank tops, sweaters, regular jackets, spring jackets, winter jackets, rain jackets, shorts, spandex, sweats, rain and for winter, rain jackets, and socks, and their original product, shoes. But it doesn't just end there. Nike wanted to felt that even though they were, doing well in the apparel shoe network, they wanted to expand further and get their symbol on athletes, on the field, on the track, wherever it may be. So in 1995, Nike decided that they were going to partner with Nike Bauer and develop equipment, hockey equipment, jerseys, different stuff like that, so that they could expand their market further. Again, like I mentioned, jerseys that athletes wear, warm-up gear athletes wear, it gets people going. For example, when athletes warm up, especially professional athletes, there's people watching them, and when they wear the trademark swoosh, people feel like they want to wear that also. According to Athletes Promotion, Nike has revolutionized the use of celebrity endorsements and therefore sponsors numerous athletes in various sports and continues to make an impact on the world. For example, the one website I use called The Richest gives examples of different sports figure and what dollar amount Nike pays that individual to wear their product. What originally got Nike started off was they sponsored Michael Jordan, and he was sponsored, and still is sponsored to this day, $60 million a year, and he doesn't even play anymore. So imagine that, I would personally want to make it to the big leagues like that, get a good endorsement deal, and just, not have to play. And then it soon follows suit. Cristiano Ronaldo, famous soccer player, at least $10 million a year. Derek Jeter, he's a big baseball player, $10 million a year. And the list goes on. LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Rafael Nadal. And the best part about all these athletes is that every athlete has a different background. So that's where your global network starts to tie together. People want to wear the same things, as I mentioned, as these professional athletes because their view is if the best in the world wears it, then that would be my connection to the best in the world. If the best in the world can wear Nike, I want to wear Nike. It must be the best. That's how they got there. As far as future investment goes for Nike, they're always 3 steps ahead of everybody else. They continue to make apps that allow people to track their runs, heart rate monitors. They continue with their commercial promotion and continue to sponsor big events such as the past big event that happened, the Women's FIFA World Cup, sponsored by Nike, and the Olympics tends to be sponsored by Nike also. So overall, Nike has come a long way from just running shoes, but to actually running the global market. You want to talk about lacing that up. Nike has the ability to transform people from couch potatoes into fit athletes and carries that responsibility with them and proudly. But how do they do that? How do they carry that responsibility with them every single day? The answer remains simple. Get your list, don't ask questions, and simply just do it. Thank you.